Can we talk about this? I want to talk about it. Not it, her. I want to talk about her because I'm a big fan. I want to talk about the lady who's making waves at 81. Yes, Martha Stewart. This week, she is still all the rage and garnering a lot of rage for her Sports Illustrated cover at 81. I purchased my first Martha Stewart magazine in 1994 and I was mesmerized. I got a subscription and I always got the kids' magazines when my daughter was younger. Now, I love the birthday party photos in there. I can't say I ever hosted one of those fairy parties. I did do a Barbie party with the classic Barbie birthday cake, but I just didn't have the time or the mental energy to follow through on anything elaborate in there. But I still loved looking at them. I even paid a bit of attention when she went to jail. Maybe I was wondering, what would her bedding look like? Would she get to paint her walls? So I'm still a fan, and I'm also very aware that I'm coming at this topic as a white woman, a privileged white woman. Now, I don't know what it's like to be privileged financially like Ms. Stewart, but I do have privilege just by being white and just by the body size that I have. So yes, this episode is going to talk about Martha Stewart on the cover of Sports Illustrated and my thoughts on it. And I want to go into this episode and this video recognizing that magazines sell a fantasy. They do. When I bought that magazine back in 1994, I bought into the fantasy of a perfect greenhouse. And the swimsuit magazine Sports Illustrated sells a fantasy. It is there for, as they say, male gaze. It's not the only magazine out there like this. Sports Illustrated, in my mind, is selling a fantasy of perfection in a swimsuit. It's selling sexuality in a different way that Playboy sells it. Gosh, we're not going to see Martha in Playboy, are we? She's already done one nude magazine cover. And yes, magazines like this can perpetuate self-loathing, body image issues for women at any age. Let's not discount some of the men's health magazines that can perpetuate these thoughts in men as well. It's not limited to women. Women do seem to be the ones that search for more diets, though, when it comes to media and body image. I purchased those magazines for the fantasy that they conveyed. Back then, it was like Pinterest now. Instead of saving Pinterest pins, I saved my Martha Stewart magazines. That type of like homemaking, it really was meant to elevate the everyday, even though some of the recipes had 100,000 ingredients and could be a little bit difficult, but that's what I liked about it. I loved the feel and the look of some of the things in that magazine and how it made things that could be mundane around your home feel kind of special. And so with this bathing suit cover, or swimsuit cover, I should say, showing up, I'm asking myself, am I currently still inspired by Martha? You'll see that I still have my original book from 1994. I don't save everything. Why I still have it, I don't know, but I do pull it out from time to time. There's a couple recipes I've saved in there. I do have some cookbooks. So while I'm wondering if I'm inspired by Martha, I'm also asking if this is now just another form of toxic beauty culture, or is it a gateway for aging women to be featured in media a little bit more? And I'm not naive. I know Martha's not the first one, and she's not going to be the only one who is a woman of privilege featured on a magazine cover of age. But there's some deeper questions that have been raised by people that I know on social media. Is this magazine representing discrimination, racism, and are we really polarizing women who can't attain that level of beauty? Yeah, we are. Maybe that's the whole purpose of putting her on the cover in the first place. It's sparking a lot of conversation. One really good comment I saw on social media was this, are we losing grasp on what's reality now? And maybe with AI coming in, maybe we are. But I think that's happened a while ago. But going on my credo that I want to live my midlife unconfined by food rules and the thoughts in my own head, and if you're here following me because this is what you want too, well, I think we got to take a look at what's happening here. I mean, is Martha living unconfined in her own life and she doesn't care what anybody thinks? Or is she actually confining herself to this media trap of toxic beauty and ageism? I don't think this is an easy answer, so let's talk about it. I want to share my initial thoughts of what came to mind when I came across the post on Alex Light's Instagram page as I was scrolling social media, kind of like my millennial daughter, where I got a little caught up in this conversation. My first thought of this post on social media was, damn, her hair looks good. And my second thought was, is she really 81? Like, whoa. To me, Martha has always been the same looking. Like, she doesn't change much. She's got a look, and her look is timeless. So I really don't start to register, and she's not the only one, but I don't really register that she's actually aging along with the rest of us. And I don't mean that she seems ageless because of photoshopping or beauty treatments. She just does. She's got a whole timeless quality about her. I'm always picturing her in her LL Bean or Lands In, whatever shirts they are. Maybe they're her own popover shirt from her own clothing company. That's just how I see Martha. Now, I don't kid myself that Martha actually wears like LL Bean or Lands End clothes. And I'm not a big celebrity watcher either. My fashion days fell by the wayside, where I was talking about taking care of my kid and my mother and going to work and all that stuff, where I wasn't doing the nice birthday parties. Now, this Martha cover on this Instagram post was juxtaposed with another black and white photo. And the photo you may have seen, it circulated on Facebook and Instagram much. And it's a black and white photo of an older woman wearing a bikini, and she has what looks like leather necklaces on, and they kind of go into her cleavage. And she looks awesome. She's not small, she's defiant, and she is beautiful. Her hands are on her hips, and she's got her head looking at the camera like, yeah, don't touch me. I'm invincible. Now, what about Elon Musk's mom, who is also on the cover of the swimsuit issue of Sports Illustrated at 74? I don't remember that much. I probably wasn't paying attention, again, for the same reasons of being too busy. She is quoted as saying that she just wanted to inspire older women. Maybe that's Martha's reason for being on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Whatever her reasons are, it's actually none of my business. What is my business is how media images like this actually kick off how I feel as a woman, as an aging woman, and maybe even how I feel as a non-diet nutritionist in this society, because there's a lot wrapped up in the non-diet world as well. And yes, I think about what this means being a white woman in the wellness world. And I think about what this means to the women I talk to as well. It's a lot to think about. Okay, what about your thoughts on Martha? So some of these are from people that I've talked to. I did an Instagram live about Martha last week, and some of them are paraphrased because I don't want to just scoop people's like notes off the internet. That just isn't right. So let's read them. I've seen comments like, this makes me want to have a tummy tuck. This is racist, and it's also discriminatory. I'm not disagreeing with any of these, by the way. It's just a lot of food for thought. This sets us back as a collective of women. We're not allowed to age naturally, and this really drives it home. I don't want to spend my life being wrapped up in staying ahead of aging, whatever the game is. I want to just enjoy where I'm at now. This is a baby step for women in the future. It's a baby step for featuring older women on media outlets like this. I've also got Go Martha, and I love her, but let's be realistic. This is crazy because she has so much cash at her disposal, and you know, she can take care of herself. What about this is cool, and it's also disturbing, and yay for visibility and sexiness of an older woman. This one's kind of funny too. 81 is the new 21. Is it really? Really? And this one, my goodness, being older and plus size now is doubly hard. That's a hard one to read. We could also say being older and plus size and of color, where do you see the representation? You don't. All of these comments are valid, and this isn't a discussion with a complete right or wrong answer. So let's unpack some of this. I mean, what did my mom say about opinions? They're like a-holes, and everybody has one. I swear, you know, behind the scenes, but I have a clean rating on this, and I'm not going to change it yet. Okay, let's take that this is racist and discriminatory, for sure. Having Martha Stewart on the cover of Sports Illustrated as a white woman who is 81 and as the oldest model, it's discriminatory for sure. And you could say racist. It upholds standards of beauty and body that are rooted in whiteness. There are many other older women, women of color, women who could have been featured on this cover. I'd like to know who you'd like to see. There's a link in the description to SpeakPipe, and you can leave me a voice note. Tell me all your thoughts. Tell me who you'd like to see. Tell me I'm crazy. Tell me anything. You know, maybe the media company that runs Sports Illustrated actually had a short list of women who they thought could potentially be on the cover, and they were representational of all kinds of people, and they all said no. How do we know that that didn't happen? Interestingly, the intellectual property of Sports Illustrated is owned by Authentic Brands Group, and Shaquille O'Neal is one of the biggest shareholders. I mean, who knows as a shareholder if they have a say in what goes on in those particularly large companies, or if they're just there to make their money. I don't know. But if he did have a say, this is a whole other conversation that we could unpack potentially. Pop a voice note too if I'm getting any of my facts wrong. I tried to fact check what I was saying before I came on here and opened my mouth. Okay, what about this one? We're not allowed to age naturally, and this really drives it home. 100%. I'm not going to disagree with that. 100%. But this isn't new either. Goodness, just watch an Oil of Olay commercial, or what else? Throw me a commercial in the comments. Do people still watch TV anymore? There's commercials here on YouTube. The cover can definitely be seen as ageist and toxic, perpetuating toxic beauty for all of us who are just over here living a regular life and who really can't do anything about their aging, changing body. The comments that I threw out earlier certainly display that we're tired of toxic beauty, of toxic youthful culture in the media, and not all of us can afford to go and have plastic surgery or go have a facial, even buy the latest and greatest fashions. It's just not attainable for a lot of us. I gotta back it up here to say that I have been privileged to be able to access plastic surgery twice in my life, once to put breast implants in, and thank goodness I was able to pay to have them taken out. And the comment of cool but disturbing was alluding to the thought that if this was what some people want to celebrate as far as what we look like as we age, that's a little off-putting. Maybe we're all in trouble. Many of us, women and men too, just don't have the genetics to pull that crap off. Okay, what about this one? Go Martha, and yay for baby steps and the visibility and sexiness of older women. Yeah, I can see the legitimacy in this one too. So maybe this is a gateway. Maybe some people will feel inspired by the cover itself, or maybe it just perpetuates us all feeling a little more crappier about ourselves and our suburban life. It's gonna go both ways. Some of us are gonna feel like we can celebrate ourselves more as we age, and some of us are gonna feel pinned down and left out and less than. But again, let's remind ourselves, the magazine world is a fantasy world. So is social media. It's great to see some sexuality in older women. We are far from losing our sexuality at any time of our life. Now, I'm saying this broadly. I'm not trying to say that if you're in perimenopause or menopause and you're feeling a loss of libido, that you're not the norm. This is the norm. But sexiness is more than libido. Sexiness is an attitude. Sexiness is confidence. It's how we feel about ourselves, and it does start from within. Don't you think? Or am I totally off the mark here? I don't want to gloss over the fact that certain symptoms happen and all these changes happen in our body that relate to how we feel as far as being sexy. That's not what I mean here. What I'm saying is that older women can be sexy. I mean, look at Mama Gina on the internet as well. Being sexy comes from within. It comes from within your mind, and it's a matter of confidence, and it's a matter of feeling desirable even to your own self. Okay, back to the questions I asked in the beginning, if I can remember them. Are you still inspired by Martha? Am I still inspired by Martha? Yeah, I am, but not for the reasons that you might think. She's gone from Wall Street to authoring cookbooks and developing a television show, making Martha Stewart Omnimedia and all of the stuff that goes with that. She's partnered with Canopy Growth to do CBD products. She's partnered with Snoop Dogg in the Bic lighter. Have you seen that? It is hilarious. She is not afraid to push the boundaries. And to be a business mogul like her, you gotta feel unconfined, you gotta feel confident, and you gotta not give two French fries about what anybody thinks of you. I really wanna change the rating to explicit on here. Packs a better punch than a French fry. But basically, you don't get to that place if you give an F what other people think about you. You gotta be unconfined in your own head about other people's thoughts and opinions. All right, is this another form of toxic beauty or a gateway to visibility for older women? What if it's both? What if it's both? Can it be both? What if things can be in the same space at the same time? What if two things can be true at the same time, and it's context and all how you take it in? Remember, we're selling a fantasy here. So we can take this in as the pressure to age like someone like Martha, or we can take it and introduce deeper discussions around what this actually means as a sign of the times. And what does this mean within us, singularly as women here? We have the opportunity to have deeper conversations about aging and beauty, discrimination, racism, ideals, youthfulness, and we have the opportunity to take this to our dinner tables and talk to our children about it, whether they're 8, whether they're 11, or whether or not they're 25. This is a conversation that spans all ages. And maybe we can do this without cancel culturing the people who perpetuate these conversations. It seems that Martha has been living not just her menopause years unconfined, but all of them. I mean, she did a nude photo for the cover of Spy magazine back in the 90s, and she's known for, did you just hear this term too? Because I feel like I've been under a rock. The thirst trap photos on Instagram. I thought those were duck face photos, you know the ones. I didn't know this was like a sex shot or a sexy shot trying to grab the attention of the viewer and entice them in, but it makes sense, right? Thirst. You want the viewer to be thirsty for more. I don't think my face is going to make anyone thirsty for more. So whether this turns out to be a gateway for more diversified women to be featured in pop culture, I guess that remains to be seen. It's certainly sparking conversation. And to that person who said, are we losing a grasp on what's real now? I think we already lost it. We lost it a while ago with the beginning of social media and with Pinterest and with the highlight reel. Is it new to covet what somebody else has in their own backyard? The cliche, the grass is always greener on the other side, didn't come up yesterday. But we can't argue that this especially affects our younger people in our lives. And yes, it affects us in menopause as well if we haven't done the work to settle into what we really want and understand who we really are and put the filters on when it comes to that stuff. Following other accounts on social media, not just the Martha accounts, can give you a bigger perspective of what the real world is like. I do have a blog post on social media accounts that you can follow. I'll pop some of them in the description, but you can diversify your accounts. There's nothing wrong with going on a social media detox, scrubbing your social media account and repopulating it. And maybe you'll choose to put people like Martha back in there and you can add a few others. So whether Martha is living unconfined and letting go of all the rules that society placed on her by doing this magazine cover, or whether she is being confined by idealistic beauty rules of her own choosing, only Martha knows that. And maybe from our collective perspective here in the Peanut Gallery, it can actually be a little bit of both. But should she be accused of erasing the story of our collective aging as a certain group of women, a certain group of demographic women? She's not the only one who's done it. My gosh, we could argue that we're actually doing it if we're the ones who go for the Botox, or if you were like me and in your 40s you decided to get breast implants. We need to look past Martha at the deeper reasons for why we're talking about this in the first place. I'm going to wrap this up by just pulling on that tagline of elevating the everyday. Martha is far from everyday. We know that, right? She's a celebrity, but she's definitely put some specialness in my life throughout the years. I wouldn't have my canning equipment that I actually bought in my 20s. Yes, I still went clubbing, but I loved canning equipment. I wouldn't have that if it wasn't for Martha. Well, I might have if I actually listened to my mother who taught me all the recipes, but without Martha making it cool, I wouldn't have gone out and got my canning equipment. Whatever Martha's reasons are for being on the cover of Sports Illustrated, who knows? I'm just a small potato girl in suburban Toronto talking to you on YouTube about it. And if you're one of these women that feel like Martha is erasing the story of our youth, I'm sorry. It's not that I don't agree with you. I do. I can see that this might be part of the case, but it's not the whole picture. Maybe because she's not going to be the first and she's not going to be the last. At the end of the day, if I'm settling into the part of the non-diet space that helps women tune into who they are, accept who they are, and become more at ease with their lives and their bodies, and to pick health practices that follow what fits them, then I need to talk about accepting all kinds of things, including what Martha does on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I mean, you do you, boo. But the non-diet world also has its roots in inclusivity and non-marginalization. Is that actually a term? Not pushing people to the side because of their skin color and their body size and who they are. So if we're turning this cover, this fashion shoot, who is done by a model, She is a model. If we're turning this into a discussion about racism and discrimination, then this isn't the video for it, because there is a lot to unpack there. And I have a guest that I'm inviting on the podcast. She hasn't said yes yet, so maybe I shouldn't even be talking about it here, but I hope she says yes, because her views as a woman of color are really thought-provoking on this topic. So stay tuned. But it's certainly sparked a great conversation this week, hasn't it? She's certainly not going to be the only celebrity out there that will trigger thoughts of aging in you or in me by showing up in media. She's not going to be the first, she's not going to be the last. What this begs is us asking deeper questions of what is this triggering in me and where is this coming from? This is a great place to gain more awareness about your own thoughts on aging and beauty and what you buy into. At the end of the day, slamming Martha on social media is not going to help me live a life that is unconfined for the last years that I got remaining. It's not. I will take some of her advice though. Be fearless, she says. Okay, I'm here for that. Take care of yourself. You know what? I'm here for that too. Whether it means trying to feel good in the skin I'm in, drinking some green juice or green smoothies, eating the cake, having the pasta, having some sleep, working on my stress, or gosh, what if it is plastic surgery and I decide to get that one day again? I don't think that'll happen. But what I'm saying is, you do you and figure out what this is bringing up inside you. That's all I got today. I will probably get a lot of things wrong as I speak about other things here on the internet, and I welcome your comments. I'd love to hear what you thought about this little video chat. I'm not discounting that I might have a lot more work to do on myself as an aging white woman who's making comments about somebody else's life here in an episode on YouTube or the podcast. So with that in mind, maybe we should all write our lives in pencil, carry an eraser, and be ready to change and be open to new ideas. Until next time.